What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be looking at my PvP builds on every subclass, including Prismatic. And just to know that you don't have to try this, I'm just showing this off because I want to. I'm not forcing people to wear it, but we're starting off with Solar, which is my main subclass. So I'm using Autumn Wind, Burrow Time, and this is my machine gun. I use this for Rumble because I'm a Rumble player. Sometimes I play Rumble, and I'm using Doom Archers. And this is what I got for my subclass. So for the first thing, I have Burning Maul for the quick charge, Towering Barricade, Catapult Lift. I'm using Catapult Lift because I'm more comfortable with it. You can just use whatever lift you want. I'm just really comfortable with Catapult Lift. Yeah, you can use whatever you want though. I'm using Hammer Strike. I use Hammer Strike a lot because I use to main arc. Incendiary Grenade. You can use whatever grenade you want. I'm just really comfortable which one I use. I use Soul Invictus, Roaring Flames. I use Ember of Mercy. This is really good for trials. When you revive an ally, you get restoration, and picking up a fire sprite, you get restoration. So this is really good for like any game mode that involves like reviving an ally, and this is really good for Ember of Searing because if you see here, defeating scorched targets grants energy and creates a fire sprite, and every time I pick up a fire sprite I get restoration, so it's really good. Ember of Ashes, it makes my my grenade do more, like it makes it burn more, like more better. It's really good for trip mine, but I use this grenade because I just like this more. It makes me more comfortable. Ember Beams for like stats and make your super a little bit better because it's not really great. I'm using kinetic and solar targeting. Fauna Focus, Solar Dexterity, Boss String Detonation, Kinetic and Solar Unflinching, and Kinetic Weapon Surge, Better Already, and Innervasion, Reaper, and Bomber ×2. I use these on pretty much every subclass on my build. But let's move on to the next one. Alright, now we're looking at my Stasis build. This is the one I mostly use sometimes. This is the weapons I use. I use the same machine gun. I use the same armor mods, but with different targeting, unflinching, dexterity, a weapon surge. It's the same shit. It's the same thing. But yeah, same shit. On my subclass, I use Towering Barricade. I use Catapult Lift. I use Shiver Strike, and I use Dustfield Grenade. I use this because of the I just think slowing targets is makes them more vulnerable. I mean, Cold Snap is good as well, but I just feel more comfortable using Dustfield. I have used Glacier Grenade sometimes, but I only use it on Hoarfrost Z. But I don't even use Hoarfrost Z anyway, so I just stick with Dustfield because I feel like I make them more vulnerable. Like it makes it easier for me to kill them. So yeah, I use Dustfield because of the quicker charge and to make them more vulnerable. It freezes them as well if they can't escape. So yeah, I think it's a good grenade overall. And now for my aspects, I'm using Cryoclasm and Tectonic Harvest. I use Tectonic Harvest for the one of the fragments I use. This aspect is good with my super, where I spawn stasis crystals. I break it, and this is also good with one of the fragments I use, as I said before. So this is the fragments, Whispered of Torment. You can read it right here. Whisper of Chill, stasis weapons. I'm using a stasis weapon, a stasis pulse rifle. Is also good for my Tectonic Harvest, where every time I get a kill. And Whisper of Reversal. While you have Frost Armor, melee damage slows targets, which is really good for Silver Strike. And Whisper of Durance, where slow that are applied to the targets last longer, which is really good because my melee slows targets and will last longer, and is really good for my grenades, so it's good for both of these pretty much. And I always, stats, same shit. I always try to keep it resilience. Don't care about mobility because I'm using Doom Marchers. And I try to keep it, like, I try to keep my strength up for my, melee, so I can be able to, like, slow targets. And yeah, that's my stasis build. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so on Arc, I use, it's pretty much the same shit on the weapon mods, but I use 7-star Carbine, Trespasser. 7-star Carbine was my old gun I used to use, and I think it's still good till this day. I actually still use this thing sometimes. And as I said before, weapon mods, same shit, but I have changed a few things to have melee, outreach, and bomber. I have changed that a little bit. Better already. Yeah, everything's the same shit. Alright, Arc Titan. Alright, so I use Thunder Crash. I do use Fist of Havoc sometimes when I'm like bored. I mean, Thunder Crash is fun too, but I do like roaming supers a lot more because I feel like I get more kills doing it. But you can go with whatever you want, whatever you prefer. Fist of Havoc, Thunder Crash, doesn't matter. I use Thruster. This part really doesn't matter. It really does depend what game mode you're playing. I use Thruster because I just like Thruster. You can use Towering Barricade if you're playing like 3v3 Zone Catcher game modes or like Trials. But I just use Thruster because I'm more of an aggressive type player. Catapult Lift, Seismic Strike, Lightning Grenade, Knockout, and Touch of Thunder. Spark of Shock. This is good for my Lightning Grenade. In case there's like a group of people, it can jolt targets and kill them easier. Also got Spark of Brilliance. Defeating a blinded target with precision damage creates a blinding explosion. That's good for like people that are in a group together, like stick it together. You get to do a blinding explosion. It will be easier to win like 1v2, 3s, all that. And Spark of Feedback. Taking melee damage briefly increases your outgoing melee damage. This is really good for like 1v1 melees. So you'll do more damage. This is really good combined with Doom Marches and Knockout because you do more damage than your opponent. Spark of Instinct is really good for the also 1v1s while critically wounded. Taking damage emits burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets. That's good for like close quarters. Like if somebody's trying to like kill you with a sidearm or melee, and if they're low, it can kill them. Or you can just finish them off with the melee or any other close range weapon you got. But yeah, Doom Marches can also do the same shit. Every time you melee somebody, it jolts targets. And now we're going on to my Void subclass. I barely use Void sometimes, but I do use it when I'm like in a long range kind of map because I use Adept Messenger with Fusion for the close range, Messenger for the long range, and I use the machine gun if I'm playing Rumble. Now I use Rally Barricade. I use this for my Adept Messenger. I don't recommend using this in like in close quarters. I only use this in like long range, so people won't be able to push me. I'll be able to peek while I have the overshield with my Adept Messenger. So I think it's a good move and good tactic to win fights, and plus a quicker charge rate. And I'll be able to get every kill I get. I'll be able to get Orb of Power, so I'll be able to do more damage on my weapon. Towering Barricade is also good, but I don't really use it. I only use it for trials or something like that, or like any 3v3 situation that has a zone. Like I said before, always use Towering Barricade if you're playing like trials and shit. But I use Rally, Catapult Lift, Shield Bash, Scatter Grenade. I have used Void Spike before because I got so used to Lightning Grenade on Arc. But I have used Void Strike before, but then I swapped to Scatter Grenade because I just like things that explode. Bastion for, like I said before, Bastion is good for the shield. When you place your barricade, you get an overshield. I have used Offensive Bulwark before, but I also use Unbreakable. But I only use it on, I feel like it's better on Prismatic, but you can make it good on Void. It depends on what you do. But I recommend using Unbreakable if you're using like, what's it called, Towering Barricade, to like bait people and use a quicker grenade charge. I use Echo of Leeching. Melee kills start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. Echo Exclusion. Void ability, final blows cause targets to explode. That's really good because our abilities are explode people. Defeating targets while your shields are depleted grants you a temporary void overshield. That's good because it's like One-Eyed Mask, for example. Think of it like that. If you're wounded and if you get the kill, you'll be able to get a void overshield. It's basically just like One-Eyed Mask, which I really like. I do like One-Eyed Mask, so it's basically just One-Eyed Mask mixed with Dune Marchers. Echo of Dilation. While crouch, you sneak faster and gain enhanced radar resolution. I picked this because number one, I'm a sneaky player. Two, I did like the stats. It gave me extra mobility and intellect, which is kind of important. Now we're on to Strand. This can be a little bit awkward because of what I use here. My exotic is Severance Enclosure, which is really good for PvE, kind of met in PvP, but I feel like I'm starting to get used on how to use it. And I'll explain in a second how this works. I'm using Aegis Care Adept, which is the Charles weapon. Armor mods are the same shit. Targeting is a little bit targeting, dexterity, and unflinching is different. Now, what I got here, I'm using Towering Barricade, same situation. Frenzied Blade, Catapult Lift. Frenzied Blade for like winning melee fights and running away from fights if you have to. Threadling Grenades, I have used Shackle and Grapple, but I don't really like. I haven't really got used to it. Every time I use Grapple, I push somebody, I end up dying. Shackle, I suspend somebody, I end up dying either way. So, plus the grenade charge is horrendous. So I use Threadling Grenades because I just feel like it's more comfortable. Because if you throw it at someone, they're gonna be more distracted on the Threadlings, will make you win more fights. Because if they're distracted by the Threadlings, you'll kill them easily. Into the Fray. Destroying a tangle, casting your super grants with a mail for nearby allies. That's really good for one of our fragments of what they're able to do. I use this aspect. This is good for killing people that are capturing zones, or you can use it on people that are like multiple people that is about to push you. I see this good for like 6v6 situations. I mean, this could be good in like trials if they're like about to capture the zone, but I don't recommend using this build in trials. Just use whatever you're comfortable with, but I just use this because I just feel like I just like anything that explodes. So yeah, and I felt more comfortable with it. I tried to match with it, I ended up doing good with it, and yeah. Now moving on to my fragments, I use Threat of Isolation, letting rapid precision hits amidst severing bursts from the target. That's good because I have a precision weapon, Aegis Care Adept. Threat of Rebirth, Strand Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create Threadlings. That's good because I'm using a Strand Weapon. Threat of Transmutation, while you have with a Mail Weapon Final Blows, create a Tangle. This is really good on an artifact I'm using, which I'm about to explain in a second. Threat of Evolution, Threadlings travel further and deal additional damage. This is good for the other fragment where Strand Weapons create Threadlings. And this is also good for my Threadling Grenade, so I see this as a good fragment and for the build I'm using this for. And like I said before, my artifact, I'm using Threaded Blast. Destroying a tangle with a Strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion, which will probably kill the whole team if they're all together. So yeah, this is the Strand weapon I'm using. I see this is really good for the artifact and the fragment. So yeah, we can move on to the Prismatic. So for my Prismatic build, once again, armor mods, same shit, except for targeting, dexterity, unflinching. I did change the outreach, double outreach. I might change it back to bomber actually for the grenade because I have something useful for my grenade and for my fragments. All right, so let's see. I use Twilight Arsenal for the quick charge. I use Thruster, like I said before on Arc. You could go with Barricade, which is, I think, in my opinion, is better than Thruster. I just feel more, again, I feel more comfortable with Thruster because I'm more of an aggression type player, especially on how this build is gonna exactly work. But if you're playing Trials or again like 3v3 game modes that has a zone, use Towering Barricade. It does help you a lot. I use Catapult Lift, Shiver Strike. I have used Hammer Strike, which is also good with one of the legs. I forgot what it's called, but it one-taps people. But I prefer Shiver Strike because it's pretty much a guaranteed hit. Because as soon as you hit them, you double melee, which is going to be a guaranteed hit unless the game hates you and just doesn't land. Suppressor Grenade. You could go with Pulse Grenade, which I have used before, but I felt more comfortable with Suppressor Grenade. I use Knockout. I use Diamond Lance. Like, pretty much Knockout and Diamond Lance is really good together. And Shiver Strike, if you hit Shiver Strike alone, you'll get the Diamond Lance either way. If you combine it with Knockout, you'll get the Diamond Lance either way. It's really good. Faceted Blessing. Melee final blows start health regeneration while transcendent. Melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. That's really good because every melee kill we get health regeneration. Like I said before, Diamond Lance knockout, really good combo. Because with knockout, if you kill someone knockout, you're guaranteed gonna get the Diamond Lance, and you'll be able to hit the next person that's nearby. Facet of Courage, your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities do increased damage to targets. That's actually really good with what I have here, because Suppressor Grenade do increased damage. I think it also works with knockout. When you punch someone, it might do increased damage. I'm not sure, I never saw it, but I'm sure it might work. I don't know why it wouldn't. Fast on Command, freezing or suppressing, really good, because not only that, we have Diamond Lance and Suppressor Grenade. We suppress people and we freeze targets, so that's big. Passive Dominance, your Void Grenades weaken targets and your Arc Grenades jolts targets. This is also good with Pulse Grenade, but I use it on Suppressor because if you're able to weaken targets, it weakens them, which makes them more vulnerable, so you'll be able to get the kill easier. So pretty much these three fragments are good for my melee, which is the Fasten of Command, freezing targets with my Diamond Lance. Fasten Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. While transcendent, the effect is increased. People used to think this is good for, I mean, they still do. This is good for PvE also, but this also works in PvP. So if you're surrounded while you're transcendent, you'll be able to win fights easier. So yeah, that's my prismatic build. That's all the builds I have. This is the PvE loadout. I hope you guys enjoy the builds. I hope you guys try them out, see how they work, and see you guys later.